We're on the grind. We are on the grind. I mentioned in my last upload how there is no UFC card this weekend, and although there's regional promotions like Cage Warriors, for example, putting on events, I'm going to shift the attention for this video to the boxing world because there's a lot of topics that I'd like to discuss, and they all revolve around boxing, despite them not all being specifically about fights. But first topic I want to tackle is the boxing card going down this weekend. It's headlined by a rematch between Josh Taylor and Jack Catteral. Their first fight was in 2022. It was for the Undisputed junior welterweight belts. Catteral went into that fight the challenger, and there was mentioning on the broadcast of that first fight how Catteral was a former sparring partner for both Canelo and Floyd, and it showed in how well polished he was in the first half of that fight. He was boxing beautifully, landing pop shots and combinations and staying safe. But Josh Taylor, as the champion, fighting in his own backyard, I believe, in that first fight, just showed a relentless will to win, and his aggression and desire to find that knockout shot was persistent from start to finish. And as the fight progressed, it started to affect Catteral a bit because his shots weren't doing anything necessarily to Josh Taylor, not enough to deter Taylor from coming forward and looking for his shots, and it made the fight very intriguing. There were moments that made the fight great, but the officiating is really what ruined it and caused controversy because the referee in certain situations and certain moments late in the fight deducted points for things that didn't really warrant points being taken, and it kind of impacted the overall scoring of the fight. With that being said, Josh Taylor has since dropped some of his belts to Teofimo Lopez, so this is not a championship fight, but considering how much the officiating in the first fight impacted the result, this rematch is intriguing to me. So, ESPN Plus, Josh Taylor, Jack Catteral 2 this weekend, and there's another fight that went down this past weekend. It was for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. I'm going to get into that one in a second, but beforehand, there was a recent announcement trailer released for the new boxing game set to come out, Undisputed, which has been in early access for quite some time, but they released a trailer that's giving us an official release date for console, so we're going to go ahead and check that out right now.
Like a power punch, I'm sure. What an atmosphere it is. They go toe-to-toe to the bell. Been floored by the headshot. Refusing to lose. Refusing to give up. Astonishing right hook to the head.
Bow to the king.
There it is, October 11th, 2024, release date for console. Pre-order and you get Roy Jones Jr. from 1993. I think I'll be getting that.
PlayStation.
Good trailer. Good trailer. It, as somebody that's been playing Undisputed's early access, it was really fun at first, but the game mechanics kind of got repetitive a bit quickly. And I hope that what they have in early access right now is something that they're building on in terms of game mechanics, because honestly, I feel like the game still has a ton of potential to be something incredible when the full release does drop. But there's cheaters online, and they haven't really added too many new fighters since Early Access's release. So I'm really, really just curious to see what the full game looks like. And one of the fights that went down in that trailer is another one that I'm going to mention, and that was, like I said previously, the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship bout between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Crazy fight. I mean, Usyk hurt Fury so bad in that 9th round, and based off what I was witnessing, it didn't seem like Fury had enough firepower or enough, like, danger behind what he was trying to set up to deter Usyk from forging forward and methodically trying to find his shot. And the pressure was nonstop from Usyk. His will to win, similar to Josh Taylor in a way, was the driving force for him. And he was getting pop shotted by Fury, but he was forcing the action and capitalized and landed a huge shot in the 9th round and hurt Fury badly, and more or less seemingly took over the fight from there. And even one of my coworkers, I'm not going to say any names, but he knows who he is because we talked about this fight after it happened. He went back and watched it himself, and he went back and watched the highlights and the full fight, and he confidently said that he thought Usyk won 7 rounds to 5. And I trust his word. I've had really good conversations with him about combat sports, and I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch this one in full detail. But considering the way that it unfolded, I think a rematch is paramount, and I think it's imminent. So with that being said, who do you guys think wins in the rematch? Do you think Fury comes back a more motivated version of himself? Or do you think Usyk is going to remain undisputed? Because, I mean, what a weekend it was for Ukraine, because I also want to mention that there was a top-ranked card that went down also. Yep. Manuel Navarette, one of the most entertaining boxers in the sport right now, lost his lightweight belt to another Ukrainian named Denis Bernichyk, and it was another split decision. But, I mean, what a weekend it was for the Ukrainian boxers, man. And it's intriguing because it creates, but, like, when a champion gets dethroned in a split decision fight, it always creates buzz, in my opinion, at least. So I'm curious to see whether or not Navarrete gets a rematch here, just because of how incredibly entertaining and how successful he was up to that point. But we'll see. We'll see. To be determined, right? Another topic I want to briefly discuss is this card between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson that's going down, I believe, in like a month or so. And I just like have a question for that fight is like, should Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson concern me? Because I understand Mike Tyson's a savage, but in combat sports, age is such a significant factor, and the night of that fight, Mike Tyson will be stepping in that ring at 58 years old, and Jake Paul is like 27 or something like that, 28, and youth is always a significant advantage in almost any competitive sport. So I'm really just hoping that, like, I mean, I hope that Tyson gets out of there unscathed and still has his credibility as a boxer after the fact. That's what I hope. That's all I'm going to say regarding Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Oh, and the fact that Darren Till is also boxing on that card. So we'll get to see Darren Till back in action. The last subject of discussion I want to run through is this card. It's going down the same day as UFC 302. It's essentially Frank Warren's best 5 talents up against Eddie Hearn's 5 best talents. It's going down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They've had cards like this in the past, and I mean, I enjoy them. There was one in December. It was headlined by Joseph Parker versus Deontay Wilder, and then they had another one that had Joseph Parker versus Zhilei Zhang, as well as Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. But now we get Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang in the main event for this one. And, I mean, Daniel Dubois is on this card. Raymond Ford versus Nick Ball is a great fight. And, I mean, we were supposed to, I believe, get Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev to open it. And instead, Bivol is going up against an undefeated talent in Malik Zinad. I hope Bivol gets through this fight and puts on another masterclass, and that we get to see him versus Beterbiev. But, I mean, this is a pretty good card. Thing being, with all of these boxing events that are being put on, I can't help but wonder how many of these fighters that we see performing are actually going to be in that Undisputed game. That's what I'm curious about, because there's been so much buzz about the game itself, and they're trying to bring light back to the sport of boxing. And, I mean, Riyadh season has been heavily contributing to that. And, I mean, I want to see it all work out, basically. So, that being said, that's all I have for this Fight Talk edition. Hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to drop a like if you did. Turn on them noties if you're really digging the content, and stay tuned for the next upload.